Good evening, I'm Reese Thompson.
And I'm Silver Barker. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. We're starting tonight with a live look outside College Green, where it's another beautiful day here in Athens. We've definitely been seeing warmer temperatures than we're used to for this time of year. With more information is Newswatch forecaster Isabel Isco.
And yes, that warmer temperatures that we've been seeing, that has been happening all across the U.S., except for you can see that low pressure system kind of building. But here in that Midwest, you can see Chicago 80 degrees, Detroit 77, even Pittsburgh 74. We've just seen those warmer temperatures than we're used to this last day. For these next 24 hours, those past 24 hours, you could see early this morning we were on that really chillier side. It was looking a little cold, but as we get more into the sunshine, that our temperatures even got into 79 looking at tonight. Over these last, looking at temperatures right now, those temperatures are more northern, 77 in Newark, Zanesville, Lancaster, but here in Athens, we're currently looking at 75 and clear. We're definitely starting to cool down as the day goes on. We had that temperature high of 79, but we did have that expected temperature high of 76. We broke that today. It's definitely been a lot more on the warmer side than we're used to here for those fall temperatures. Over these, if you look at this national radar, we're going to be in the clear these next couple of days. But once we start looking into this weekend, we might have a little peak of rain in there. Definitely get into that in my full weather.
Thanks, Isabel. The school board members who sued over Republican-backed overhaul of schooling are considering what's next. A judge has ruled that DeWine's new initiative for K-12 education can begin after a month-long court battle. The transfer will allow DeWine to have extensive control over K-12 education and has been highly contested by the current members. DeWine has announced that he is appointing Jessica Voltolini as interim director of the Department of Education starting Monday. Trustees from Ohio's public colleges and universities gathered yesterday for the first ever statewide trustee symposium. They met with the goal of discussing issues impacting higher education in response to a new bill impacting colleges across the state. The new bill could ban most diversity training as well as faculty strikes. The bill passed through the Senate in the spring and has not yet moved to the House.
The percentage of provisional ballots rejected in the August special election is at an all-time high within the last 2 years. Voters were only deciding on one item, the amendment to make it harder for future amendments to become a part of Ohio's Constitution. In the August 8th election, almost a fourth of over 39,000 ballots casted were rejected, and almost a third of those provisional ballots were tossed because the voter didn't have identification. Most of the time, provisional ballots are tossed out because a voter isn't registered in Ohio. Belpre City Council is taking steps to prohibit camping in the city. Yesterday, council members unanimously approved the first reading of the ordinance, which is based on recent action by the city of Parkersburg. Belpre's ban would include fines on the first offense. The second violation would include a fine and possible jail time, and a third violation would mean even greater fines and a longer possible sentence. Additional readings will be held at future council meetings.
The city of Chillicothe estimates Bellevue Avenue will be closed for the next 4 weeks. The closure runs from Grand Avenue to Pullman Road. Residents in the impacted area will still have access to and from their homes. If you don't live in the area, the engineering department suggests taking alternative routes like Carlisle Place, West 5th Street, and Keller Road. The project will improve sanitary and storm sewers, as well as curbs, gutters, and new asphalt. The average price of gasoline across South Central Ohio this week is at $3.29. In comparison to last week, this new price is a penny higher. But if you would like to compare it to average prices around the region, AAA East Central's gas price report for Athens, Ironton, and Portsmouth is as seen on your screen. The city of Akron is making moves in the tech world. The U.S. Department of Commerce is designating the city as a regional tech hub that will lead in the production of sustainable polymers. This is a big accomplishment for Akron, as they've been attempting to make their mark as a leader in the polymer space for quite some years now. President Joe Biden's advisor on science and technology, Arati Prabhakar, says this designation is an acknowledgement of the city's efforts. A Hamas hostage shares their story. Plus, an update on former President Donald Trump's lawsuit. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
And these warmer temperatures that we're experiencing, we're going to feel those for the next couple of days. And looking into this weekend, we might be seeing some rain in our forecast. Next on Newswatch.
Did you follow me to my house?
Look, I wouldn't normally do this, but what if your daughter never got to meet your son?
You should go to Long Pine Reserve.
I'm looking for any public record to help me find my sister.
I didn't know Dora had a sister.
Do you have any sense of where she might be?
I can't keep track of her.
I've been looking for you.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
I can come home and I can find myself in a place that's very much like Mars. Growing up on the Navajo Reservation area, never would have thought that I would have ended up in a place like NASA.
We've helped in building community. We're part of the wave. We throw up our light and then people will gather.
We're gonna help their dreams for the future come true.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
On Nova, ancient Earth.
It's the mother of mass extinction.
Something utterly catastrophic.
Much greater than the one that ended the age of the dinosaurs.
Now, we finally know the culprit.
We are finally able to piece together clues from this ancient crime scene.
We're talking wildfires, acid rain, deadly UV radiation. This was hell on Earth.
Inferno on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
On Secrets of the Dead, a rivalry between two men determined to reach new heights.
Bourdais' lighthouse and Gustave Eiffel's tower embodied this fundamental opposition.
And the Eiffel Tower announces the right to be monumentally present in the city.
A revolutionary building that became a global icon. Eiffel's race to the top on Secrets of the Dead.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsens, Hamas has released 2 more of the hostages taken during the terrorist group's attack. One of them, an 85-year-old grandmother, is now telling her story, as intensive talks continue to free a larger number of hostages. But major obstacles remain. Mike Valerio has the latest. We need to warn you, some of the images and subject matter in this next story on the war in the Middle East are extremely graphic.
Moments 2 elderly hostages, now free from the grip of Hamas, thought might never come. One of the released hostages says she was kidnapped on a motorbike and taken to Gaza. The 85-year-old is likening her time with the group to going through hell.
She's really the first person that have been with other people there, and I think she's very aware that she can pass on information.
Their medical condition is okay. They're talking. At first, we immediately brought them to their family members. It was a very, very emotional meeting.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, people frantically search for survivors in buildings that have been bombed to ruins. The Palestinian Ministry of Health reporting more than 700 people have been killed in a bloody 24-hour period. And without much needed fuel being withheld in humanitarian aid deliveries, Gaza's hospitals are facing the possibility of mass casualty situations.
Without electricity, this hospital will just be a mass grave.
As attacks escalate, the Israeli military says it's now waiting for a green light on a ground invasion.
Hamas is responsible for civilian casualties, but we will do every effort to avoid them and to fight this war as speedily and as rapidly as we can, but it could be a long war.
To any state or non-state actor that is considering opening another front in this conflict against Israel, or who may target Israel's partners, including the United States, don't throw fuel on the fire.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
The health ministry in Gaza is reporting hundreds of people were killed in the past day by Israeli airstrikes. Israel has been striking Gaza since Hamas militants attacked southern Israeli towns earlier this month. Today, Israel's saying it's launched 400 airstrikes in the last 24 hours, killing Hamas commanders, hitting militants as they were preparing to launch rockets into Israel, striking command centers and a Hamas tunnel shaft. The health ministry, which is run by Hamas, says more than 700 people were killed in the past day. This claim could not be verified by the Associated Press or other independent sources.
House Majority Whip Tom Emmer emerged Tuesday as the GOP nominee for Speaker, and just hours after his nomination, he opted to drop his bid. After rejecting 2 candidates, House Republicans are trying again to elect a Speaker and get congressional business back on track. Karen Kafa is in Washington with the latest developments.
Tough times for some House Republicans.
I think the country is frustrated by it. The conference is frustrated by it.
And tough math for any Republican Speaker nominee.
It's about unifying our conference, getting us back on track.
The House Republican caucus set out again on Tuesday to select a nominee to succeed Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. After 2 previous contenders, House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, then House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan, failed to secure enough support from their own party. The gridlock has left the House at a standstill for 3 weeks.
We desperately need to move on with the business of America, getting our appropriations bills passed, securing our border, providing aid to Israel.
The plan for Tuesday, successive ballots behind closed doors, with the candidate with the lowest vote total eliminated each round. The top vote getter through Tuesday's rounds, Tom Emmer of Minnesota, the current House Majority Whip. But as Scalise and Jordan learned, securing a majority of House Republican support doesn't guarantee the gavel. Some Republicans pushing to stay behind closed doors until a candidate reaches 217 votes, the threshold to win a vote on the House floor. House Democrats watching and waiting.
I'm hopeful that the Republicans will decide to come to a consensus and a bipartisan agreement with Democrats so that the House can work on behalf of the American people.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
A pilot with 22 years in the cockpit for Alaska Air is getting set to be arraigned Tuesday. He's facing dozens of attempted murder charges after authorities say he tried to shut down the engines of a plane mid-flight. Still shaken passengers are recounting the moments they learned the flight was in trouble. Laura Geary has their stories and what Alaska Air is saying about the incident.
He was tall, well-kempt, had a lanyard, shirt tucked in, looked well put together.
By most accounts, nothing set off alarm bells about Joseph Emerson, a career pilot for Alaska Air, on or off the job.
He seems like a really nice guy. Nothing abnormal about him. He's very caring, loves his kids.
Emerson boarded Flight 2059 Sunday, hitching a ride in the cockpit's jump seat, as off-duty pilots often do. Once cruising at 31,000 feet, Emerson allegedly attempted to shut off fuel to the engines. The on-duty pilot and first officer acted quickly and kept the engines from shutting down completely.
The flight attendant's announcement that said we had a situation, we needed to prepare for a landing.
She said that we're having an emergency, the plan's going to we're diverting, and she didn't say where.
Flight 2059 was diverted to Portland as Emerson was taken from the cockpit.
I see the cockpit door open, gentleman walks out, and he walks to the back of the plane by himself.
We landed, and then about 10 police officers armed came on. Then the flight attendant got back on and told us he had a mental breakdown.
44-year-old Emerson faces dozens of felony charges, including 83 counts of attempted murder. In a statement, Alaska Air says they had no known issues with Emerson, and records show he successfully completed his most recent FAA medical exam last month. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Alaska Air says Emerson never had any flight certifications denied, suspended, or revoked during his career. Emerson faces 83 felony counts of attempted murder and 83 counts of reckless endangerment, plus 1 federal count of endangering an aircraft, according to booking records.
Donald Trump's former lawyer and longtime fixer confronts the former president in his civil fraud trial. Michael Cohen testified on Tuesday in New York to tell the court about his knowledge of the Trump Organization's inner workings. Cohen is a key witness in New York Attorney General Letitia James' lawsuit alleging that Trump and his company duped banks, insurers, and others by giving them financial statements that inflated his wealth. Trump denies any wrongdoing. The first signs of respiratory virus season are just starting to show in the U.S., but the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is forecasting this fall and winter will be as bad as last year when it comes to respiratory illnesses and hospitalizations. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on what's being predicted and how you can protect yourself now.
Right now, respiratory virus levels are relatively low in the U.S. overall, but the CDC is forecasting this season will be similar to the last one, which saw hospitals fuller than at any other point in the pandemic and worse than pre-pandemic years.
Time to getting into the hospital and getting that life-saving care can be delayed.
and that can cost lives.
At the peak of this respiratory virus season, CDC forecasts show there could be between 15 and 25 new weekly hospitalizations for every 100,000 people in the U.S. COVID-19 will probably account for half of those new hospitalizations, with flu and RSV combined accounting for the other half. To help prevent getting you or those around you sick, wash hands frequently, sanitize high-touch areas, and if you're not feeling well, stay home. If you have to go out, wear a mask and get tested, says Dr. Kristen England with Cleveland Clinic.
Not only for COVID, but also for influenza. Remember, we've got medications that we can use to treat both of these viruses if caught early.
Experts say everyone ages 6 months and older should get the updated COVID-19 vaccine and this season's flu shot, and the RSV vaccine is recommended for those who are most vulnerable for severe disease. England says now's the time to get those shots.
It takes 2 weeks for any of these vaccines to really become effective in our bodies. It doesn't happen overnight.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A tropical storm is strengthening to a hurricane as it approaches Mexico's southern Pacific coast. Tropical storm Otis will make landfall near Acapulco, Mexico tomorrow. The U.S. National Hurricane Center says that Otis was about 145 miles southeast of Acapulco on Tuesday with winds of 80 miles per hour. The storm will bring heavy rain, which may result in flash flooding and mudslides. We'll be feeling any of these effects in our region, Isabel? Excuse me.
We definitely are going to be on the drier side here in Ohio. Nothing really to that effect of a hurricane here in Ohio. But for today, definitely those drier conditions, those mostly sunny skies. That temperature high that we did beat today of 76, I saw us up in the 79 region. And that temperature low that we'll be feeling later tonight at 41 degrees. Those mostly cloudy skies are going to be coming in. We've definitely had those clear skies today, but those clouds are going to be making their way in looking at tonight. Looking at tomorrow, with that temperature high of 75 and that temperature low of 49, definitely very similar to today with those partly sunny skies. We're going to be on this warm up for these next few days. We're not going to have much rain or we're just going to have some clear skies, some clouds here and there, but some warming. You're going to see that high pressure system that's been developing over us these last 24 hours. There's definitely been keeping us dry, keeping us out of any kind of sign of those precipitation. But there is this line of low pressure that is going to be developing over these next few days that is going to be kind of growing in size as it's crossing America, and it's going to be giving us some rain looking into this weekend. Nothing too intense, just a few sprinkles here and there, but it's definitely going to be affecting some areas more than others. Looking at tomorrow, that high pressure system is still in our area. In this low pressure system, you can see that it's kind of going around us. It's definitely going more northernly than here in southeast Ohio. Looking at tomorrow night, we're going to still see that low pressure system building, and it's going to be affecting more northern Ohio than here in southeast Ohio, where that high pressure is just lingering, keeping us nice, keeping us pretty much the same as today for these next few days. Then Thursday, that is whenever we're going to be seeing this kind of start to trickle in. It's going to still be out of southeast Ohio's way, and you can see it's really developing more southerly, going to not give us too much rain here, just kind of some sprinkles as we're looking into our weekend. Sorry about that. We're going to definitely see it developing as we're going throughout this week. Definitely going to want to stick with us to see how much rain we are going to be seeing this weekend, but definitely going to be on that lighter side. You can see that these next 3 days, very similar to today, those temperature highs 75, that temperature high on Friday of 78. Then Saturday, that's when we're going to be seeing that those chance of showers come in. And once those showers are over, Monday, we're going to see that temperature drop. We're going to have those rain chances, and once that rain goes in, we're going to have those colder temperatures afterwards. We're looking at 60 degrees for your Halloween, but it is going to be on the sunny side, so definitely stick with us to see how much those showers are going to be affecting us this Halloween weekend. Let's take it back to the desk.
Coming up in sports, another Ohio athlete receives MAC Player of the Week. That story is still ahead. And for the latest for Newswatch, check us out on Twitter or X, Instagram, and YouTube.
From Madrid, New York City Ballet dances 3 signature works:
George Balanchine's Serenade, set to the music of Tchaikovsky, followed by Balanchine's tour de force, Square Dance, and concluding with The Times Are Racing, choreographed by Justin Peck. Expect to be delighted when New York City Ballet in Madrid comes to great performances.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
This is for you.
You got grit, I can tell you're never gonna quit. No, not even for a split second. Counting all your blessings. You got personality like Christmas got his presents, and I like it. Yeah.
I always want to create something that's gonna mean something.
That's fabulous. And I like it. Yeah.
Dare me to do something.
Don't stop, honey, gotta do your thing. I like it. Don't stop, honey, gotta do your thing.
I really want to show the world how beautiful our culture is.
There was more similarities than differences.
It makes us happy. It makes us feel good.
Yeah. So spread those golden wings. We're gonna shine like the stars. Got the
It is part of our unique story. All of us together.
This is our special time.
I like it.
Salute, babe.
Honey, gotta do your thing.
We're going intergalactic.
Don't stop, honey.
We're going to make memories.
I like it.
PBS is proud to present One Voice, the songs we share. Join Maestro Luke Fraser and the American Pops Orchestra for a celebration of uniquely American music that transcends time and genre. Celebrate the music of Broadway with performances by Luke Hawkins, Amber Iman, Alexis Michelle, and more. Hosted by Jesse Mueller.
Friday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back. I'm Peyton Brooker. Starting out in the Ohio field hockey team, the fifth-year forward Caitlin Whittle has been named MAC Player of the Week. With Whittle tallied 5 goals and 2 assists against Bellarmine over the weekend in her 8-2 victory. With this accomplishment, Whittle now moves to 3rd in the country in goals per game. The Bobcats close out their regular season this weekend when they travel to North Carolina to take on Appalachian State on Friday and Davidson on Sunday. High school volleyball playoffs resumed last night, where we saw Alexander fall in their playoff game against South Webster. Meanwhile, the Spartans went to Waverly as the 11th seed, hoping to upset the number 1 seed in the district at Southwestern Jeeps. Alexander was unsuccessful, dropping all 3 sets. The Spartans had this energy as the first set only losing by 2 points, but could gain ground in the next 2 sets. Alexander finishes their season 13-11. Meanwhile, later in the night, the Megs Marauders came out on top against the Federal Hockey Lancers in 4 sets to move out to the next round. 18-seed Megs came to Waverly with an upset against Minford last Thursday. Federal Hockey also came into the match after their upset win over Portsmouth West. Megs was led by Maddie Wooster and Keegan Wolf to move on to play South Webster. The Lancers finished the season with an 11-3-13 record. Down to high school soccer, the Athens girls soccer team was eliminated last night against Logan and Marietta Tigers. They came into this matchup having not lost a game since September 9th. The Marietta Tigers came into Logan as the 2nd seed in the Southeast 2 district. The Bulldogs fought hard but were defeated 4-0. The Tigers move on to play Jackson on Thursday for the district title. Athens finished its fall season with a final record of 8-7-4. And in boys soccer, the Athens Bulldogs are in action tonight as the district semifinals matchup against Fairlawn at Logan. The Bulldogs this season have only 1 loss, losing all the way back in August, as they have been had a 3-game win streak coming into the playoffs. Meanwhile, Fairlawn comes into this match winning 3 of their last 4 games with 10 total wins. The winner of this game plays either Fairlawn or Union or Gallia Academy in the district finals. Kickoff is at 7:30 at Logan High School. And finally, in Ohio football, the Bobcats host the Miami Redhawks in their annual Battle of the Bricks standoff at Peyton this weekend. Against Western Michigan, Ohio struggled to get their offense going in the first half, only gaining 30 rushing yards. Prior to their loss to Toledo, the Redhawks were on a 6-game win streak and haven't given up more than 21 points. Coach Albin comments on Miami's destructive defense.
Games have been basically low scoring. They get after the passer. They always have. 15, the linebacker is, he is right there with Key and Bryson Key.
Kickoff is set at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. That's all I have for sports. Back to Reese and Silver at the desk.
Thanks, Peyton. But still to come, one football family celebrates 2 major wins this week. Stay tuned to WOUB, and here is a look at what is coming up later tonight on your public television station.
In a New York City nursing home, a group of Black and brown artists with disabilities fight COVID and the city to protect the lives of its residents.
Rona Corona. You have me confused and confined.
Fire through dry grass on POV.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
Why do we need to talk about race in medicine?
Why talk about race?
That's a great question. Not knowing where to start, we often choose inaction.
But we know this has to change.
It is important to call it out.
We need everyone's perspective to come together.
We turn to our friends and colleagues and ask them to tell us their stories.
This show is an invitation to settle in and listen.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
Time is running out for the last wild runs of spring Chinook, the most revered Pacific salmon.
Those are the fish that the southern residents are desperate to have.
Genetically, salmon has imprinted on our DNA.
Then these fish are at really high risk of extinction.
This is the golden age of genetics right now.
We figured out the spring run gene. If that disappears, you might have to wait 1 million years to get it back.
Tonight at 10.
This is an alien world where extraordinary life forms exhibit strange behaviors. To unravel these mysteries, the Spy in the Wild series returns. 30 new spy creatures with hidden cameras will infiltrate almost every ocean on the planet. What they discover must be seen to be believed.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
And finally tonight, talk about a special delivery in Indianapolis. It happened at Sunday's football game between the Colts and the Cleveland Browns. Tylen Jones was there for her cousin, NFL wide receiver David Bell, play for the Browns, when Jones went into labor during the game. Medics at Lucas Oil Stadium helped deliver the baby, something they'd never done at the stadium before. Jones says she and her daughter, Kamara, are doing well, and that her family is celebrating 2 wins Sunday, the birth of her daughter, and the Browns beat the Colts 39-38.
And looking at weather currently out there, 75 here in Athens in those clear skies. Looking at tonight, we're going to have that overnight low of 41. Those mostly cloudy skies are going to be coming into our region as we're looking at tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to be very similar to today, maybe a little bit cooler with that temperature high of 75 and that temperature low a little bit warmer for the day of 49. Those partly sunny skies are going to be staying in our area. For these next few days, we're going to see those same kind of higher temperatures until we look into this weekend, where we might have some showers for our Halloween weekend. And Halloween, we're looking a little bit on the cooler side. Definitely stick with us and see how we're going to celebrate our weekend.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Isabel Isco and Peyton Brooker, I'm Reese Thompson.
And I'm Silver Barker. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support for PBS NewsHour is proudly provided by Luke S. Frazier.